Hafa day, namaste, and thank you for tuning in today, Guahan and beyond. I'm Clare Calvo, and this is Conscious Living. Today, I am here with an old friend. He's not old, but we go back a long time, who I absolutely love.
Long time, let's make sure. I'm only 22, girl.
Burst of sunshine. We got Ernest Ochoco in the house.
Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up, girl?
Ernest, I missed you. So, we're going to talk today. I mean, as soon as you walked in the room with Audrey too.
Yes.
Every time I think your name is synonymous with creativity.
Oh, I thought it was with prettiness.
Beautiful creativity, creative beautification, but everything, like everything you create, whether it's productions, performances, in every way. And I think that's pretty much how we met.
Yes.
Years back when I first went back to Guam. But today we're going to talk specifically about the performing arts. And we'll cover all of it, but I just want to
pick my brain.
I want to pick your brain.
Yes.
And really just start off with, we're talking about performing arts, but more so just I think just the arts in general.
Yes.
And because you've got a little bit.
Did you say performing arts?
Performing arts.
Wow.
Because arts is part of the arts.
Yes.
And arts is part of the arts.
Yes. And my belly keeps falling on top of this table. It's okay. It's okay, I'll get rid of you soon.
Oh my God, I love you. That's the other thing. You bring humor to everything. And humor, of course, is so healing on every level.
Yes.
And right now.
It's the best medicine.
It is.
Yeah. Right now we need
right
a
after
lot
love,
of healing.
or I guess it's kind of combined.
It's combined. I think a lot of love makes you laugh.
Yeah.
And
sometimes it's humorous.
It's a lot of humor. Oh my God, just check my boyfriend. He laughs all the time. We're still together. Oh, 9 years we've been together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's been 9 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
10 years.
See, that's how much love is exuding out of this room.
There's magic sounds everywhere. But yeah, I love the arts, and that's exactly how you and I got closer together.
Right.
I think we met when we were smaller.
Because we were back then probably still involved in
art stuff.
Arts, Benji's plays and whatnot.
Yeah, Tito Ben. Oh, everyone knows Tito Ben.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
We love you, Benji.
Hi, Tito. And I miss your chairs being thrown around.
Well, I think the thing, when you're a director, when we work together, you take it out in a different way. Not so much flying chairs, but, you do instill fear to a certain degree. When it comes to the performers and those involved in the productions,
Yeah, there's always a lot of passion involved when you're in productions.
Right.
And I think, I don't throw chairs but there's a lot of, there's a lot of intensity.
Yeah, you throw your energy around.
Yes, and it goes
and
into...
loud.
And it hopefully goes into that place where creativity can flourish. So, for example, I always tell people, I always challenge the cast, right? I'm always like, hey, I'm here, I'm giving 110,000% into this thing, and I'm not sleeping, I'm not eating, everything is about getting this show on the road and making sure that everyone is under my responsibility is doing super well. And that's exactly what I'm asking of you. If I can meet you here, you need to meet me there so that we can do something amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and because truly, honestly, Ernest, your work ethic, and maybe you don't consider it work because it truly is your life. It's your dharma. I feel like it's your life's calling. But you eat, sleep, breathe, whatever you're creating. The arts.
Right.
Because you're usually involved in some form of production. So first, can you just share with us basically what it is? Because I know you not only sing, you on Rent, you danced, you did the whole nine.
Yes,
but your background with drama, with the arts. Can you just give us your background?
Yes. So I studied. Well, it's always inherent, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff that we do as humans, a lot of the art that we express as human beings is inherent. I think we all have the potential to create phenomenal art because it's the first, and I didn't know this until I went to college, and I had I took theater history 101. I was like, oh my God, that's what we did. So the arts was one of the very first things that we used as communication.
Yep.
right?
I knew that about dance. I didn't realize all of the
It's
art.
everything. So if you look at that, I know most people know about the cave paintings, right?
Right.
Back in the day, so there's these cave paintings that were created or were found, and when they dated it, it was so far back to where humans first started kind of like existing, and so I believe that arts were like such a great communication. And if you looked at the cave paintings, you would see how people would create the pictures to show other people where they hunted, where they gathered, right? And then sometimes you would even see things like animals and places in the forest, right? And it wasn't just for map purposes or for communication. It was beautiful because people lived in those caves.
Right.
You know, so it was
So it was a
functional
form of,
art.
yeah, it was a
Functional
form
art.
of communication.
Yeah, and then dance was also that, and then of course, you know, grunting sounds. I mean, if we really think about it, all of our communication is pretty much grunting that's just organized,
Right.
right? So we
Yeah.
all just organize our grunts and our sounds,
Yeah.
and we make something beautiful out of it, you know?
Well,
And,
I mean, even the root of Om,
yes,
O-M or A-U-M, they say it's a vibrational. You know, right now they talk about sound healing
right?
because so much is about that frequency of.
Okay, let's do one. Let's do the
Oh, boy.
Ready? Let's do it.
You ready for this?
You do it, and I'll do the harmony. Ooh, so we can make so pretty.
We're gonna harmonize.
Yeah, let's harmonize the universe's sound. I used to do that at yoga sessions. Here, let's try it. Let's try it. Ready?
Really?
Yeah, you start, and I'll do that. You have better lungs than me. It's okay, universe. You heard me too.
Okay, no, but on a serious note, I want to get to what inspired you. I mean, like you said, it is kind of intrinsic in all of us, but like you're saying, and
What
even
got me there?
taking it a step further, we are human beings, but if you think about it, we're really spiritual beings having this human experience. And our spirit truly, when it comes to singing and dancing, you feel the spirit come alive.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I feel almost as if we're operating on a different level when we are not necessarily performing, but when we are in that space of creativity.
Yeah, you know, I think one of the biggest, so many things, because I do all the different arts, right? Including culinary arts, because you know that's a beautiful art form
It's
too.
creating, yeah.
And I remember a very, very distinctive moment where visual arts became alive for me. I was around 2 years old, and I don't know why no one was watching me, but I walked up the stairs.
At 2.
At 2, I was walking up the stairs, 2.5, and I got to the loft of my, or the attic of my grandmother's home in the Philippines, and my uncle stayed there. And I remember on the
What
top
province?
floor, this was in Manila.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so at the 3rd floor, my uncle was there, and the light is beautiful up there because there's so many windows and the air just flows in, and the I remember the curtains billowing, and I was trying to figure out, you know, where he was at, and I looked at in the room, and he had an easel, and I walked up to him in my diapers, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Wow.
I was very articulate back then.
So you remembered.
Yeah, I remember this. And it was such a defining moment because it also introduced me to one of my very favorite characters, superhero characters. And I walked up to him, and I'll tell you in a second who it is. And he was drawing something, and he said to me, "Oh, did you want to see something? Did you want to watch?" And I said, "Yes, I want to watch you draw," right? And or I was kind of like trying to articulate that. I'm sure I wasn't that articulate, but yes, I probably just said yes. Right? And he started drawing this human figure in a running pose that was almost looked 3-dimensional to me. And she was running, the figure was running towards me, and it was Wonder Woman.
Oh,
Yes.
I remember.
And it was so quick. You remember Wonder
Linda
Woman?
Carter, right?
Yes. And so he was drawing it very quickly, and it looked like she was coming off of the page. And I was just in awe at the magic of him starting the form and then creating all these things, and then suddenly it became alive.
Came to life.
Yeah,
From a blank slate.
From a blank slate. And that really felt like magic to me. And so, you know, when you feel these magic moments, like it really kind of it's a spark, right?
Yeah.
It kind of defines a lot of things about me. And now Wonder Woman's my thing, girl. I'm like, oh, she can borrow my bracelets. Whatever.
Why have you not done a show on Wonder
Woman?
Right?
My show's every day.
You are your show.
I am Wonder Woman every day. But yeah, so that was one of the moments. And then another huge moment for me for performance, for acting, was definitely on stage when I was around 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. See, this happens when you're really, really young. I remember singing with my first grade choir.
Is this still in the Philippines?
This is here in Guam.
Okay.
So I was around 5 years old, and my teacher said, "Oh, for Christmas we're gonna sing Angels We Have Heard on High, and we're gonna be featured on PBS."
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, featured on PBS," right? I was like, "Yay!" And then they asked for people to volunteer and raise their hands who wants to be an angel, right? And I was very
Now I want to be the main star.
Yeah, I want to be an angel, right? And they wouldn't allow the boys to be angels. And I was like, when I look at the Bible pictures, there's boy angels. I was like, come on now, right?
Oh my God.
But I still got to be part of the choir of angels. Good. So we got on. I remember going into the PBS station and sitting on the ground, and the angels were behind me, and everyone else was singing too. And I love the glow part, glow, right? That whole part, and that moment always kind of resounded and resonated with me, and I just loved singing after that. That was the moment.
So you were about 5 and it started with that program.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you brought that up about how there is really no gender to angels, and but also because kind of off topic but similar with confirmation. I was confirmed on Guam, and I just remember this was back then, right? Mm-hmm. Where I was told I had to pick a female, a godmother. My sponsor had to be a woman because I wanted a man. I knew specifically who I wanted, and the priest at that specific parish was like, "No, you can't. You have to pick a woman. The guys got to pick men. The girls got to pick women." I'm like, that doesn't make sense. We're talking about spiritual connection. This is who I feel connected to. So he's like, "Okay, well then you're gonna have to go to a different parish." So I'm like, "Peace." So I went to another. I ended up going to a different parish. But yeah, but now when that was a couple decades ago.
Right.
But now you see everyone
a couple 2 years ago.
I know.
A couple decades, 2 years ago.
2 decades. But and that's the beautiful thing about what we've seen from when we were kids up till now.
And how it kind of transforms, and the social consciousness is different.
Exactly.
And I love that about how we can progress into different ways of thinking.
Yeah.
And more progressive ways. Yeah.
I feel like the arts have a lot to do with that. I feel like when it comes to changes in the world, the arts are mainly responsible for a lot of these things transforming into new ways of thinking. Yeah. Right.
Of social consciousness.
Yeah.
So one of the best things that I've ever heard about art, and learning about this in school and in college, and speaking to like-minded people who are passionate about the arts. One of the things that really kind of captured my attention was when a friend of mine had said to me, the arts are a mirror to society, right? So, and I remember doing this philosophy class in college, and our final question to answer, and it was this big research paper that we had to do, right? And it was, the question was, do arts imitate life, or does life imitate art, right? And I said, well, it's both ways, I find, and I had to cite all of these references, but it's true, we are the mirror, or the arts are a mirror to society, and it shows us who we are. Yeah. That's why we're moved by it.
Right.
Because it ignites something within us that we can relate to.
And authenticity.
And yeah. So it's like unfiltered, you know what I mean? It kind of touches you. It gets past all of the facades that we build around us. There's so many facades and so much lies and fakery, and is that a word? But anyway, it's my new word.
You made it a word.
It's my word today, fakery.
Because I know there's another word similar to it.
Right.
Not an A.
Yeah, it sounds like bakery. But I'm on keto, so no carbs. Just kidding. I love you, auntie, uncle who own the bakeries. but yeah, so much facade that's going on, and so many people just putting on mask after mask after mask. The irony is that we use masks in theater, but
it
theater,
gives you permission.
It gives you
to express and come from that authentic space. 'Cause I feel like a lot of times just out, walking around, sometimes people feel, when we're self-conscious about judgment and whatnot, that we have to proceed a certain way.
Right.
Through life. But when we're on stage, it's like, hey, this is my This is my blank palette, and I could create whatever because this is a role.
Yeah, almost. And that role usually has a story behind it. It's not it's not for fooling people. It's for bringing out something truthful about a story, so that we can transcend a lot of the stuff that kind of holds us back. And so the arts has always been this beautiful way for us to communicate our thoughts and our beliefs and take stands, to incite, not incite, sometimes to incite, right, but to inspire a lot of people to kind of find the truth and the true values in us, so.
Well, there's another amazing quote. I love Gabrielle Roth. She's the one who created 5 Rhythms, and it's kind of more, she doesn't really have structured dance like choreography, but she's more about free flow, ecstatic dance. But she follows the 5 Rhythms, right? And she always has the most beautiful expressions of dance and just life and movement in general. And one of her quotes was, and this is not exact, but this is the sentiment of art being not just about beautification or aesthetics, but art being something of truly, basically, an essential element of life.
It is. I mean, if we freaking grew up with it, from when man first started, understanding their world around them, and it became our very first tool. Come on, it's been part of our DNA. It is an essential part of who we are and what we are. Because if we don't know where we came from, we can never really go forward, right? So an appreciation, not just an appreciation, but an intellectual understanding of the depth of how important art really is to us, is something that we all need to support, all need to delve into, because the arts is healing also, right?
And that was my next question. I was curious, in your life, in your personal journey, has your role in the arts, has there been any times in your life where it's been kind of like your saving
grace? Absolutely. Oh my God, absolutely. I can't even count how many times.
Can you share just to give an idea?
Oh yeah. All of them.
just maybe the most profound.
All 1 million of them. So,
how do you feel it's helped or healed you in any way?
One of okay. Oh my God, this is so personal. I'm gonna tell you.
It's okay.
I'm totally gonna tell you. Yes.
It's about living authentically.
Yes, right? I am. I'm gonna put my jade inside, closer to my heart.
I want that screen. The heart chakra.
It's the magical dog from China. It helps bring fortune to you, so that's the piao. Sorry.
You just scared me really quick when you said dog and China in the same sentence, but okay. Oh, I love him.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he's a piao, and he brings fortune to his masters, and he takes away negative human beings and energy away from you.
Well, and I didn't mean that in any kind of stereotypical way. It's just with everything going on right now, all the different theories going around coronavirus. I mean anything against Chinese culture, but just with everything, all the panic right now with all the different theories and what's going on with that virus. But anyways, okay, sorry, getting back to you.
No problem. So the one of the biggest things that happened to me was, in fact, in 2008, when you and I were doing Rent.
Rent.
Yes.
Such
Oh my
a
God.
That was honestly a very healing
It was.
production for me too.
So I was having turmoil in my personal life, in my romantic life. I was in a very unhealthy relationship with someone, and I consider I worked with mental health for 16 years, and I have a lot of skills in counseling and things like that. So, I thought, yeah, I'm pretty immune, right? I can do this. I know who I am. I'm strong, da, da, da. And I let the other person kind of like get in there, and it kind of ruined me because I started giving my power up to that person and allowing my compromise to become something beyond just a regular compromise. It became more of a disempowerment. Not a compromise where it was equal. It became disempowering because I kept giving and giving
and getting nothing in return.
Nothing in return. So, or little bits in return.
But imbalance, obviously.
Imbalance, yeah. And in fact, it was the day before opening night that he broke up with me on the phone. And he was in Virginia and I was on Guam. So 2 days prior to that, I was trying desperately to save my relationship.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah, and I wasn't sleeping. I hadn't slept for 2 or 3 days, or 2 days before we opened. And I was on the phone all night and all morning, and then continuing with all of the work that we had to do for Rent, right? For the music and sponsorships, everything, right? So all of that stuff that we were going through. And being on stage always was cathartic because it let me express every single emotional aspect of what was going on in my life. And I was able to lay it out authentically and truthfully on the stage. And I don't know, I guess it moved quite a few people, so I remember when I did the death scene, there
were so many magical moments in that production. Yeah,
I remember
you were the perfect angel.
Thank you.
Oh my God, you were Angel, and that was your first inspiration into the arts, and you're Angel in Rent.
Yep. Thank you. I know, right? Oh, I didn't make that connection when I was 5. Yeah. Wow. So see how the universe works, right? So so my current partner, my life partner, Earl Espiritu, what's up? Hi, honey. Right. So he watched that show, and he reminded me just the other day how powerful that scene was for him when the character Angel was passing on.
Yeah.
So I had to do that death scene, and I remember distinctly because you're on stage and we're behind you. I was dying behind you with the guy, Rogers.
With Julius.
With Julius.
Yeah.
No, not Rogers. What's his name?
With
Collins.
Yeah, Collins.
Collins.
Oh, you were with Collins. Yeah.
Yeah. So Carl Borja was playing Collins, and he was holding on to me as I passed on the table. And you were up front, and someone else was on the other side, stage right and stage left. And I could see from my peripheral vision the rest of the cast always coming forward, like on that scene, and moving towards the they weren't on the stage, but they were moving towards into closer to the space to see the scene more clearly. Almost every single time we performed it. Actually,
it was a
every
powerful
single time.
scene.
And I was like, oh, so I let out that the feelings. Oh my God, it's gonna be better, kind of, like metaphysical. But my feelings of the death of my relationship and the destruction of that relationship, and I let that out during those scenes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I channeled all of the pain that I was feeling for those 3 days of non-sleep, and like channeling it into that moment.
And that's the beautiful thing about not necessarily just performing, but in these roles and actually taking on these different personas and having that platform to express and release and let go of things. Because even with, I remember, similarly when the death scene, when I was on the table with
Mimi,
as Mimi, and together with
Rogers,
with Julius, I feel like whenever it comes to those kinds of really intimate, like heart busting open scenes, people you really feel like the connection. You feel a connection towards not just who you're performing with, but everyone feels that, and you connect on an emotional level. But this also takes me back when I used to live in LA. I remember I think I probably got just as much out of those. We had these things called expression sessions.
Oh, yeah.
And my acting coach at the time, Bobby Chance, she was incredible in exuding or in pulling out raw emotion that is, now that in retrospect I see it as stuck emotion. Because a lot of times when we talk about like dis-ease or like whether it's mental, emotional, or physical, it's blocked energy, it's stuck energy. And I remember every time leaving those, because we had different nights. We had script reading nights, we had going through the scripts, we had improv, but on Saturdays we had something called expression session. Remember, we also did it for Rent when we were rehearsing.
I remember that.
But it was about.
And you and I were partners.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was so powerful. I was like, I couldn't stop y'all.
Doing some of the mirroring work to just sit
go
in front of another person, looking into each other's eyes, holding their hand, and just no words, nothing except just whatever is communicated through the eyes. The other one that I found super.
I thought you were gonna hold my hand. We're gonna do it. I was like, oh Lord, no, not right now. I have to go to work after this.
No, but another one.
I don't want to be like all crying at work.
Oh my God, Ernest. No, but the other one I was thinking of is when we had everyone not one by one, but in a row. Because I feel like when it's one by one, people feel kind of like a little self-conscious. But in a row, we give them a line, and it's a line that obviously is going to touch some sort of emotional charge, like you left me, where were you? I needed you. That was the big one that everyone ends up like. You repeat it enough, whether there's emotion, it triggers something. Whether it's I needed you or I don't know. There's like a ton of others, but that was
a really good one. I needed you. Was very powerful.
Because I can't think of anyone who, until you work through some of your stuff, and even thereafter, I think for the most part, most people feel like an abandonment at some point in their lives, some sort of an abandonment, right? Whether it's like through childhood or adolescence or whatever. So that there's certain lines that definitely trigger all of us. But so that was back in 2008. So in the past 12 years, I mean, we still see each other around, and you're still doing a lot of different productions. What, since then, has there been anything else that has you felt like was a transitional time for you?
I'm not sure about transitional, but I think there has been transformational would be a very accurate thing. What I love seeing with doing the arts, right, is how important it is to. It taught me something really beautiful, something that I have already known, but it taught me it. I see it more clearly now. When I have all of these huge casts, right, 200 people, whatever it is, right, that are involved in the show, I see how powerful it is in building community, how powerful it is in building connectivity. And when you walk into an audition space, in particular my audition space, I'm so loca, right?
Better flip it.
Right? So when you walk into one of the auditions that I do, you don't know usually what you're gonna expect. Sometimes who you're gonna meet. You never know who's gonna come and audition that day, and and this is something that a lot of the parents have been telling me, and a lot of the cast members have been telling me throughout the years, is that they have made connections with people who they never thought they would ever make connections with. It would take, one of them said to me, it would probably take me 6 lifetimes to meet that person, but now through the arts, it's really created some sort of equilibrium, some sort of thing where it doesn't matter what socioeconomic background you're from, what color you are, what state, what ethnicity, what religion. it really doesn't matter because you're there.
All those walls are broken down.
All of it
All those
is
barriers,
smashed, and it may still be kind of like phantomly there, but it's no longer an issue.
Right.
So there's no longer any kind of because I made it a point. I knew that these things were occurring where people are from different places and different like popular kids and not so popular kids and blah 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 blah. All these other things, right? And you kind of like force them to be together.
Yeah.
Through the art form,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to work together, and they have to act together,
And depend on
each other, and they have to be a team. And they realize that, in life, it doesn't matter who you're next to. Damn it, you better like work with that person because you need to. You need to be. You're gonna need them in life.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to communicate and collaborate.
That's a beautiful point. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
like the teamwork, and same thing even with working with teams.
Yeah. And it doesn't even matter what age, because we have kids who are elementary school all the way up to the Mnamkune, like Miss Linda Frank. What's up, girl?
You just called her out.
I know. What's up? 30? 30 years old. What's up? No, Miss Linda Frank. She's a wonderful friend of ours. But she is always in the shows. It's like, have you ever seen that Where's Waldo?
Yes.
There's like this game now that people play at the shows that I do. They find out where's Linda. They count how many scenes she's in, and then they tell me at the end of the show.
I saw the last show that I saw of yours. I think was Mamma Mia. And I saw Linda there and Olympia. It was nice to see all these like yogis in your production.
Bev was there too.
Bev. Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't think. Did she do every night? Maybe.
Yeah, she did every night.
I didn't recognize her. She did. I guess she was in her costume that she wore.
And she was
so
in the
well.
character. Yeah. But
But so Ernest, now, do you primarily still perform? Or are you just primarily but do you primarily do the directing and production, or do you also still perform?
I still perform. I was at the Circle K 76. Was it their fundraiser, their gala? And I was a celebrity waiter.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, so they told me, you have to wear black and white. And so I went in a nun costume. I was Mother Superior, right? But my full name was Mother Superiority Complex.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So yeah, I was there and I performed there.
You directed Sister Act?
Yeah, I did the galas. I did the Notre Dame Gala this year. And we also did another performance. One more performance, but it was in Sister Act stuff. Yeah, because that's one of the shows I want to do.
That would be so much
right?
fun.
You have to be in it.
I miss being involved in production.
You totally have to be in it. Yeah, you should.
Truly, it is. Yeah, I feel like I put a lot of things aside when it was time to be a wife at one point. No longer, and a mom, still of course a mom, but I feel like there were a lot of things I had to kind of like put to the side to really hone in and do,
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to focus there, but now I feel like things are a little more flexible, ebbing and flowing better, so yeah, definitely.
And KP is full on like performer status case, so
even when he's not on a stage, this kid, let me tell you, he's a born actor, he's a born entertainer for sure.
Yeah, I watch all of your videos, I'm like, came from the mom. That came from the mom.
And he was also in your.
We did Miss Saigon together.
He was Tam, so yeah, that was exciting. And
he was like 3.
He was 4. He was 4. And for the most part, but that took a lot of courage for a 4-year-old to get with hundreds of people looking at you in the middle of the stage.
I remember one time he didn't want to go on, right?
No.
One or two times.
Right. Every night before like the show, I'd be like praying like, my God, please, just all you have to do is go there and be right here on the wing, just stand in the middle and look out, and
he did.
Don't cry, don't run away.
Don't cry right away. Cry later on when the part comes.
When you see her laying on the floor dead.
Yeah, then you can cry then.
Okay, so now tell us, what is this next show coming up?
This is right here.
Hey,
what's up? Do you remember this movie?
This will be so much fun. Yes,
okay,
I do remember.
So this is one of the famous movies that came out during the 1980s. And it is one of the most unique Broadway shows out there. I've done a lot of Broadway shows, and I watched a ton of them. This is super. Yeah, hey, what's
When will you do
Fela. Oh, we can do that.
That would be amazing.
Let me know.
But I don't know if we have the right kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know we have a niche. We can get that.
Yeah. Okay.
But so this show is, and I've never seen a show like this. There's a freaking alien that comes from outer space, and it tries to eat people. What kind of Broadway show has that, right? It's so strange. It's so different. In fact, in the movie or in the script, you'll see the line "strange and unusual plant," and that is Audrey 2. Yes, right here. So this was created by, of course, none other than Mr. Master of arts himself, Mr. Cheeto Santos. And you can actually put your hand in here, back, and wait, and beyond. There, I think I can do it. And no, I can't because there it is. So this is Audrey 2, and he is the plant.
Audrey. Oh, it's a he.
Yeah, or she. He or she. It's a. You
Well,
know,
in this day and age,
yeah,
you're not
matter.
supposed to use, right?
Right? It's the
them.
plant.
The
It's
plant.
them. So Audrey 2 is here.
Audrey.
Rah! I'm gonna eat you. Come on, man. I'm gonna eat you. Hello there, Claire.
Let's be friends, Audrey.
Sure. Sure. What do you wanna? Where do you
So I
wanna
want
go?
to know your role in the production.
Oh. That's a tough.
First of all, you're upside down.
Well, I am the star, obviously.
You're the star.
Yes.
Oh.
My gosh, my puppeting is so bad. I'm like doing this and there's no sound coming out. I need to work on it. I obviously missed puppeting class in college, but yeah. So Audrey 2 is one of the big stars of the show.
So
and
someone will be up on stage.
yes,
Okay.
yes, and the plant actually is not only just an integral part of the show; it's also an integral part of the set. So the set moves. You're like, oh wow, yeah, y'all gotta come and watch it.
And it's gonna be where?
It's going to be at the Phoenix Center, April 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Nice.
And the 19th is a matinee, 3:30 p.m. But the rest of those are all evening, 7:30. And if you look at Guam Gate Theater on Instagram, you'll see more information. And if you're on Facebook, you can message me or message the Guam Gate Theater. Remember, it's Guam Gate Theater, not anything else. Guam Gate Theater. That's the one. So, yeah. On Facebook, on Instagram,
Facebook.
yeah. So you'll get to see.
And you've already done the casting, or you guys
Yep.
are already okay.
We are at dance right now, so we're cleaning up all of our choreography. And
Who's the choreographer?
we have 4.
Let's hear it.
Oh my God!
Of course, I'm always
I know you're
interested
so
in
good
who's-
at that. Yeah, because you're a dancer. So our choreographer is our choreographers, of course, Mr. Cesar Medina from Dance Jazz.
Yes.
Cesar is amazing. Have you seen him dance before?
I haven't seen him in a long time, but I used to. In fact, when I was living in LA, we were both at Millennium at the same time. I bumped into him there. Yeah.
So Cesar is he has a master's in dance, right? And he's phenomenal. Just a great person and a great artist. And of course, we have Veronica Flores. She's from Australia. She married a Chamorro guy, and she works at the Hyatt Hotel. She's with their marketing director, I believe, and she's also a phenomenal dancer. She started her love of theater and dance and all that on the arts when she was very young. And then Kai Barrer, of course, she's
Kai.
yes, Kai. So Kai Barrer, she's been on Guam for a very long time, homegrown, and
Wait, so she
great.
lives here now? She's here?
Mm-hmm. She's back on Guam. Yeah.
Good.
So she went out there for school and she's back here.
Okay, got it.
So Kai, she grew up here dancing as well, and then our final person is from New York, Jenn Brooks, and she was in Mamma Mia as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay.
she's choreographed a couple of the numbers. Also.
Nice. And so all of them are primarily jazz based.
They are, the dancing.
choreography?
The choreography is a mixture. A little bit of hip hop, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of, a little bit
Cabaret.
of cabaret. Yes, there is. A little bit like, yeah. Is that the sound for cabaret? Yeah. That's probably not the sound.
I just moved to it. I don't really
Yeah,
make
but
noise to it.
but yeah, so the 4 of them are phenomenal choreographers for this show. And I'm the director, producer. I also play Chang Dadu. Do you remember that? There's that song.
I thought about maybe watching it, but I've never seen the Broadway. I've only seen the actual movie.
The movie, it's in the movie too. So like Seymour recalls this what is it? Flashback. Oh my god, dyslexia is a real thing and it's okay. And backflash. So here I am. So in the movie, Seymour walks out of the flower shop and he recalls this flashback, and he meets the Chinese guy who sells him the plants.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I vaguely remember, and that's you.
Yeah, Chang Dadu.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited for this.
So much fun. Oh my god, everyone should really, really come. And of course, as you know, I'm known for having a lot of audience interaction. So plenty. There might be also...
That was so much fun for Mamma Mia. We all got up and we're like, hey, we get up and dance. Of course, me and my sister's like, oh man, we have to sit now. Can we just stay up and dance?
I know your whole line, right? The whole line of you. I was like, yeah, keep on. But yeah,
okay,
so
this
one.
will be this next month, and then I'm just curious. Is there anything you want to share about later this year, or is there any plans for what will be next?
There'll be a lot of things going on for next year. So just look out for the auditions. They're always
next year. How about for 2020?
2020. Oh yes. Right now we have something called Pacific Educational Conference in July. And that is a whole bunch of different nations that are coming in to share educational information. It sounds kind of like boring when you say it like that, but it's really, really fun. You get to meet lots of different people.
Is it pertaining to the arts?
To everything.
Oh, okay.
To all educational things, including the arts. So we're going to feature a lot of our GATE performers.
Nice.
Yes, and GATE teachers and GATE friends.
Wonderful. Okay, good.
Yeah, so that will be in July.
Thank you so much, Ernest.
And make sure you buy your tickets at Tango Theaters, Kate.
Is that the
Tango
only
Theaters?
place?
Yeah,
Okay,
Tango Theaters, and they'll also have telephone numbers for you to call.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Anything else?
And all that stuff.
Before we close, anything else?
No, that I love you and thank you very much for having me here, and it's always fun to make chica.
Always such a joy. I love you so much. Thank you. We'll see you next time. You can catch this show and all other shows on SoundCloud, Pandora, Spotify, iTunes stores, and YouTube. Peace.
Bye.